If the reclaimed wood, dated granite countertops, and ugly glass backsplash of this outdated kitchen feels familiar, you too may be suffering from an outdated house.
But the truth is, most of us can't afford to rip out everything and start over. So in this video, I'm going to show you 5 ways Aaron and I transformed our outdated house without fully remodeling.
All night long, baby, you move me like a movie.
Interior design is always evolving, following the ebbs and flows of taste, creating rules and setting standards that last a few years and then breaking those rules and reinventing. But isn't that how our minds work? We as people are constantly evolving and changing, and sometimes that change means coming back to something we previously rejected, but seeing it in a new light.
You may have noticed our background is a little different. This project brings us back to our old house. When we bought our fixer-upper that we're currently living in and renovating, we decided to rent out this house. But after 3 years of being landlords, we're over it. So we're now going to try and sell this house in an effort to simplify things as we try to slow down in general. Because what's the point of always hustling if you can't enjoy any of it?
Oh, gross.
The bulk of the design changes for this house are happening in the kitchen. To be honest, when I bought this house over 10 years ago, the kitchen was brand new but already out of date because of some poor design choices made by the flipper I bought it from. But I couldn't bring myself to tear it all down because 1, I spent all the money I had at the time to purchase the house, and 2, nothing is technically wrong with it. Even now, the cabinets are still in great shape, and while this particular shade of granite countertop is not my favorite, it is a resilient natural stone that was fabricated well and shows no sign of damage. But besides not having the time or money to do a full kitchen remodel, it's really not necessary here, and to me would be wasteful. Instead, I'm looking at it as a really good design challenge. Can I make this outdated kitchen work with mostly what is already there?
The very first change we were certain we had to make was the over-the-range microwave. Honestly, removing this thing is one of the easiest ways to elevate your kitchen. It's really unfortunate that placing the microwave so front and center became the norm for builders, inadvertently making it the focal point of the space. To me, this placement draws way too much attention to itself, and I'd much rather find somewhere else to tuck it away. So I decided to make yet another range hood cover. If you're new to our channel, we actually already have 2 videos that dive into the nitty-gritty of making one of these, so I won't go over it again here. And I know this may seem a little intimidating given that I'm building it in our brand new garage workshop, but my first 2 were built with far less resources, so it doesn't actually require all that I have now to do this.
Nice and buttery, my friend.
But if making something like this is completely out of your wheelhouse, I can't suggest strongly enough that you look into local woodworkers in your area. There are a ton of us makers out there hungry for work, and Instagram and Facebook Marketplace are good tools to find someone in your area. It's a great way to support local talent while also adding a one-of-a-kind handmade touch to your kitchen. I was able to find an affordable ducted range insert to help carry the cooking fumes out of the house for only around $150. Plus the cost of lumber, the whole build came in under $300.
While it was cheap and easy enough to remove the microwave, there are certain outdated features that we can't afford to replace and we have to keep. The easiest way to fix that problem is to adjust what I can around it. How we perceive any element in a room is heavily informed by the things around it. I think a big part of why this kitchen isn't working is because it lacks cohesion. Having a defined color palette will really help tie it all together, making the choices feel more deliberate.
I started by laying out the colors that are already there and that I know I have to try and work with.
There's a lot of dark browns with white, beige, and black accents, complemented by the silver from the stainless steel appliances. You can tell already that it's all pretty builder's grade basic. so I knew I wanted to add some vibrant colors to give the house some personality. But a big challenge in designing this space is that it's a property we're trying to sell, so it does need to appeal to a wider crowd. But to me, design has to have personality and a point of view. Otherwise, what are we doing? The best solution to this problem seems to be to limit my color palette. While my personal preference is far more eclectic than what I have planned for this house, not everyone has the same relationship with color that I do. I tend to prefer a space that is interesting and stimulating, full of different textures and patterns, because that's how my mind works. But for lots of people, the aim is to promote tranquility and stillness. Unfortunately, the push for calm, I believe, has led us down a really boring, highly monochromatic road for nearly a decade now. But thankfully, it does seem like we are beginning to realize the error of our ways and move away from all-white kitchens with no color at all. So in order to land somewhere between this and this, I'm going to be allowing myself just 2 hero colors, 2 punches of vibrant energy to help give the house some soul, while hopefully not scaring anyone away from it. I landed on teal and this mustardy yellow. I think they provide a nice bit of pop against the existing colors in the house that feels both retro and new. I'm also going to be leaning heavily on black in the kitchen to help pull together the warm brown from the cabinets with the creamy countertops. If I get these existing colors to feel more harmonious and pushed back, I can layer the more interesting colors on top. So now I've got a color palette I am digging, and it's feeling a little mid-century modern, which is a good fit for this home considering it was built in the 50s.
When it comes to furniture choices, I'll be leaning in that direction as well, again to help keep it all cohesive.
So that brings me to number 2 in the design choices we made that transformed this house, tile.
While I knew I wanted to save the countertops and cabinets, the Backsplash has been an eyesore for years.
This is just a personal take, but I'm really not a fan of these glass mosaics, and the cool bluish gray tones in this Backsplash clash up against the warmer beige countertops and very brown cabinets. There's just a lot going on here, many disjointed textures and color tones that don't mix well, creating visual chaos. Because this house is so small and the wall of dark brown cabinets is such a strong visual element, I want to limit the amount of contrast around it so that the cabinetry doesn't stand out too strongly. Right now, this very dominant dark brown floats above a much lighter color. This to me feels inappropriately top-heavy and visually imbalanced. By going darker with the Backsplash, I'll be able to blend the cabinets into the space better, pushing it back visually and simplifying the whole look.
While it is advisable to remove old tile and start new, we were on a tight timeline and budget, so it just made sense for us to tile on top of the existing Backsplash. Just make sure to use a good tile primer if this is something you're planning to do. I think the black is like really making the cabinets look better, and it's making me feel less gross about the countertop, so that's good. We went for a beautiful honed basalt stone tile in a simple 5x5 inch square. The subtle variation between tiles doesn't really translate that well on camera, but in person it has a very lush, velvety feel, and the deep black actually makes me appreciate both the cabinets and the countertop much more than before.
Once the Backsplash was done, we were able to finish installing the range hood, and I stained that black as well, so it would almost blend in with the Backsplash, being a nice and subtle bit of decoration in the kitchen without demanding all the attention in this small space.
So a little update on our kitchen. You may notice the microwave is gone and we replaced it with this custom range hood cover. Also, we have some adopted kitties from the street who have gotten a little too comfy with us. Now for the teal I imagined earlier. I decided the kitchen peninsula would be the perfect place to add this bold pop of color, and I found the perfect tile that is just the shade I had in mind, with some nice color variation and again a nice matte finish.
Are you still married to that dentist? Cut your teeth on plate pretend I'm all of it. Baptize your boredom in Chardonnay. Your timeline's a mausoleum lined with soft-spoken lies.
To give it even more visual interest, I used a white version of this tile for the top row. I think the two colors complement each other nicely and again further drive home the color story I'm trying to tell.
Number 3 is an easy one, paint. When I lived in this house, I was under the influence of too much HGTV, and following a lot of bad design trends led me to gray walls and reclaimed wood accents. So I was ecstatic to finally correct my mistakes and get rid of the early 2000s design traps. A fresh coat of white on all the walls instantly cleaned things up, and while I do love color, I'm really not against white walls if there's enough color elsewhere. But I couldn't help myself, so I did end up adding some color to the front door. To bring in the teal to the other side of the house, I color matched the peninsula tile and used it to paint the front door. I think it has a nice bit of drama in the living area, again adding some character and personality to the space. Number 4 is lighting. I love lighting. It's one of my favorite things to think about and buy. It's like jewelry for the house. Being so small, there wasn't a whole lot of space to do much in this house, but we did decide to change out the old recessed lights in the kitchen with semi-flush mount fixtures. I found these awesome chrome globes that have both a vintage and modern flair, and I think it adds just the right amount of visual interest in the kitchen without getting in the way.
We also swapped out an old vanity light in the bathroom for something a little sleeker, and changed the outdoor sconces as well. Speaking of outside, Aaron also designed and built a custom front gate with a built-in locking mechanism. I think it really steps up the overall curb appeal and first impression of the house.
With all the big projects out of the way, it was time to stage the place, which is probably my favorite part. Now, staging a house this small is a little tricky, but I knew I wanted to avoid going for furniture that felt like a miniature version of something. For example, with a living room this tight, you might be tempted to go for a love seat instead of a full-size sofa. But to me, that creates the impression that the house is even smaller than it is and can't actually fit full-sized furniture. I don't want to create the illusion of tiny living here. I want it to feel like a normal living room you can lounge around in. At the same time, I knew I needed to be careful about not going too big. What you don't want is furniture that butts up against other pieces in the space. I want to make sure there's enough empty space around things so that it doesn't feel too cluttered, because that too can make the space seem smaller. So really, it's about finding the right balance between too small and too big.
In the living room, we already had the built-in shelving unit I made years ago, so I just added a flat-pack console table next to it to serve as a sort of media area. Staging a house to sell is just about creating an impression on a potential buyer, allowing them to see themselves living in the house. And while I'm usually not a fan of endorsing flat-pack furniture, in this instance, it's a really good use for it. Compared to renting staging furniture for an indefinite amount of time, we're saving thousands by going this route. To help make the space feel more like a home, I strategically added wall art to give some of the blank white walls some visual interest, and added a few thoughtfully selected decor pieces throughout. Again, it's about finding the balance between too little and too much when staging a house that's for sale. I also changed out the plain white curtains for something more in my colorway. I'm a huge fan of using IKEA curtains because they're so affordable but look so much more luxe than the price tag. They also have a hanging option that allows you to easily create pleats in the drapery, which adds a nice, elegant, and custom look to the windows. For the sofa, I went with a neutral gray mid-century modern sofa that is long enough to fit 3, but its silhouette is very sleek and minimal, so it won't crowd the space.
I also lucked out and found the absolute perfect rug for this living room on Wayfair. It was so affordable, hand-tufted, and the exact color palette of my design, featuring a nice muted teal and yellow with pops of black and gray. We then added a bed to the primary bedroom and decided to stage to the second bedroom as an office, which is where I am now, adding a desk and a small wardrobe. And that's it. These were the 5 design choices we made to help spruce up our old house and get it listed. But before I get to the reveal footage, I wanted to say a big thank you and Happy New Year to anyone still watching. It takes a lot of work to put something like this together, and we so appreciate the support and feedback we've been receiving. If you found any of this helpful or entertaining, please leave us a like and a comment, and consider subscribing. We have some really exciting stuff planned for 2026, most importantly getting back to our own home. So we'll be doing a full bathroom remodel video and a bedroom makeover, as well as some more furniture builds and general design and DIY content. We also launched our new and updated website where you can not only find promotional 40 Fig swag to help support the channel, but also some of our own custom artwork, and coming soon some handmade decor pieces, which I'm really excited about, to help make your own spaces personal and beautiful. So thank you again. Please like and subscribe and do all the things. Stay safe and sane this year, and now enjoy the pretty before and after shots. Thanks, guys.